I'd like to take this opportunity as an honorary mayor of Gould to welcome everybody here today in our little community. This is a very important press conference today. I want to tell you that, first of all, we had a gathering last Tuesday, and last Tuesday the community met on gun violence, and because of 6 kids that were shot at a Sweet 16 party. 4 of those kids were in my optimism program. The mothers were here. The mothers fighting against crime were here. The community turned out in great numbers. And in the middle of that meeting last week, Metro Dade police director, Juan Perez made an announcement that they had actually captured the 3 individuals that were involved in that shooting. And it was only because of that the community gave names up. The community worked to help the police. We wanted to continue to do that. And we had a player last year shot by the name of Eric Watson. He caught 3 rounds of an AK-47. What he said to me the other day was amazing after the community meeting. He said, "What do you want to be when you grow up? Or what are your aspirations?" He said to me, "Mr. Demps, I just want to live." And I thought that was so important. I'm an optimist coach. We've got to give our kids hope. With that, I want to turn this over to our very own Senator Dwight Willard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Demps. I'm here today as not only an advocate for sensible gun control, but more importantly, as a representative of this community. I've had the luxury and honor of representing the Gould community now for the last 8 years, both in the Florida House and the Florida Senate. Gould, not unlike many communities around the country, have unfortunately been impacted by gun violence. But too often, folks in positions like mine wait to react. The reality is that we need to be proactive, and we need to be adamant about pushing back against the special interests that continue to promote the necessity for guns in communities. We know all too well, especially in this community, that fewer guns would make all the difference in the world. And so I stand here committed, not only as a member of the Florida legislature, but more importantly as a uncle, as a brother, as a son, to not want to see another person victimized by gun violence. And I'll take it a step further. I'm joined today by 2 of my colleagues that are also seeking office on the state legislative level. Debbie Marcus Powell, who's running in Senate District 39, come here, and Daniel Horton running in House District 120. They understand all too well that this community needs real change, real leadership, and more importantly, help on issues like this. And so not only is my commitment forthright and absolute like it's always been, but I've taken it a step further by providing at least a look into what the future of sensible gun control looks like here in the state of Florida. Whether it is allowing municipalities, allowing areas like Gould to implement stricter gun policies to make sure that guns do not get into the hands of those who don't need them. And more importantly, maybe going as far, and I know people hate this word, but additional taxation on guns and ammunition to make sure that folks fund programs like the Gould Optimist to make sure that we're teaching kids how to put guns down and pick books up. And so I'm excited to go forward this legislative session and take on the NRA and end up on their naughty list, as I've been for a number of years, but understanding very much that my commitment is to the people and not to the special interests. With that being said, I want to turn it over to one of the county's #1 fighters on issues such as this, none other than our great Commissioner Danielle Levine-Cobb.
Thank you so much, Senator, and thank you, Mayor Demps. And let's start with a couple of basic facts. We have more than 300 million guns in this country. That's more than we have people. And here in South Dade and all of Miami-Dade County, we have far, far too many of those guns. And for young black men ages 15 to 35, homicide is the leading cause of death. That is 8 times the next 8 combined, more homicides, cause of death. This is a national crisis, a national disaster, and it's hitting us right here at home in Miami-Dade County with too many innocents being buried. how do we solve this problem? What can we do about it? Well, along with sensible gun control, and there are many great proposals out there, we have to offer alternatives, and we have to offer from the young ones to the adults. We have to have options. We have to have hope, like Mr. Demps said. We need programs like the Optimists that are keeping kids engaged and giving them a sense of a possible future. And we have to do everything from the earliest of ages. There's a program starting, a partnership with the schools, the Children's Trust, and others, Together for Children, that is going to really help to identify early. But we don't have the dollars that we need, we don't have the programs, we don't have the coordination that we need to make sure that no child is left behind. And for those who've somehow slipped through those cracks and they're living in the shadows, and where owning guns and using guns is somehow acceptable, gives them a sense of perverted sense of worth, we have to be aggressive. We need our community to partner with the police, but we also need to make sure that these young people are approached and identified, and that they become part of the solution. There's still hope even for those who are using guns, and we cannot leave any child behind. Thank you. And it's now my pleasure to introduce our past and future Congressman Joe Garcia.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you very much. I had the fortune and the disfortune of being here a week and a half ago when Mr. Demps had a town hall here with Commissioner Moss. And you know, I've heard these stories, but to listen to them one after the other, these weren't news from some faraway war. These are things that are happening in this community, people that are dying. In 2015, 45 children were shot. In 2015, 70 were shot. It's unacceptable. And you know, I think about Mauricia, Regina Talbert's daughter, Mauricia's, and her story. 17-year-old girl getting ready to head off to college. And I think about my daughter, just left to college just a month ago. And you think about this tragedy, this horrible violence that's coming in our community. And then you also think about it when you talk to the kids. And I'm sure Mr. Demps and many of the community leaders talk about is the escalation that's going on in the community. Because these young men are scared of those who have weapons, they have weapons. And each time you are incrementally increasing the possibility of violence and death. We need universal background checks. We need universal registration. In this congressional district, here in South Florida, you have one of the largest gun shows in the country where you can walk in and buy a weapon with absolutely zero background check. And those weapons end up on these streets killing our kids. It's unacceptable. We have to stop it, and we've got to make a difference. And I'm asking all of you to step up in this election and let your voice be heard. 90% of Americans agree that we need gun control, and we need it because it's killing our cities. With that, I want to introduce Debbie Mercasell Powell, who is speaking and who's going to be the next senator, state senator from the southernmost district of Florida.
Thank you very much. You know, as a mother of 3 children and a victim of gun violence myself, there is nothing more important to me than making sure that when I'm elected senator, I work to make sure that our communities are safe, that our children are safe and free of gun violence. It is just not right that we have in Homestead, Florida City, Cutler Bay, they've been identified as one of the highest risk communities in Miami-Dade County for children to be affected by gun violence. I just spoke with Regina. She lost her daughter 2 months ago, and her daughter, just as my niece Anaí, who's 17, getting ready to go to college, that could be my niece, it could be any of our children. I've walked the streets of my district, and I've spoken to many families that this is one of their major concerns, and I am here today to assure you that this is not just a campaign slogan for me. As someone that has gone through gun violence in my family, I lost my father when I was in my 20s, I know what it's like to receive that call. And I will make sure that working together with Senator Bullard, who I know has been a great advocate of this community, with Representative Dan Horton, with Congressman Joe Garcia. I know that if we come together, we can make this happen. We cannot allow more children's lives to be lost. Let's make the right choices in November, and let's make sure that we pass common sense gun reform laws. Thank you.
I'm Willie Wright. I'm with the Goose Coalition of Ministers and Lay People, and I am very, very sad when I see all of the gun violence that we have. And I told a group about 2 weeks ago, it's nothing new. I grew up without a father because of police violence way back when. And the police killed my father and his baby brother. And because of that, I had to grow up without a father. I had to grow up in a community where killing was, and it's getting worse now. And today, we're asking all of our citizens to look at our communities and the children that we are losing. And you know, I would like to make one suggestion to our representatives that if you want to drive a car, you have to take a driver's license. You have to pass a test. And then you have to get in the car and actually drive it. Why can't we have a driver's license type program for guns? I know the Second Amendment provides us that right, but these guns are killing our young people. And today, I want to pass out these little pamphlets and ask you to sign your name to these pamphlets. I'm going to pass them out so that everybody, and the Goose Coalition of Ministers and Lay People, we are trying to get everybody involved in this. We are tired of losing our children. So if you would, please, take one of these, pass them around so that everybody will get one, and sign your name to it so that we can say to all of our legislators and our government officials that we are tired of our children and young people dying from gunshots. So thank you very much, and I hope that we will get a result from this, and I hope that we can stop the killing of our young people.
We should let Dan Horton say something.
Dan Horton, Democratic candidate for the State House of Representatives, District 120. The most important thing to me is that this is an issue that really has to have attention drawn to it. I mean, we have a press conference here so that we can let people know when they're watching their TV or they're checking on their Facebook that this is a problem. But it's not enough to just do this every once in a while. We have to elect people who this is important to. We have to elect people and put them into office that will actually change this situation, that will actually vote for gun reforms. This is the most pivotal election that we've possibly ever seen in this country, and if we don't get out, get the Democrats out, get the non-party affiliates out, and even some of our Republican brothers and sisters, come on over, represent your elected officials that are going to actually get this problem, solve it, and get some legislation that will actually change this problem and actually help families in these communities.
Let me say I would be remiss if I did not tell you that from this community we really appreciate the mayor Carlos Jimenez that came down last Tuesday. He's been around the community, different communities that have gone through these things, these shootings in their community. Also, truly have to thank we have the second best commissioner here in the area. She's close by in District 8. But
Commissioner Moss being
But we sure have to thank Commissioner Dennis C. Moss in District 9. He's been around a long time for bringing the town hall meeting last Tuesday, and he's just been here, as you all know, for a number of years. And I can tell you, he's done a fantastic job, along with Keanu McGee, who was here, the representative here, and also, again, our state senator, William. We thank you all for the work that you're doing.